liberals across the country and Democrats on Capitol Hill have been so wanting the Trump/Russian election tampering story to be true that they've lost the ability to reason and quickly are losing what shreds of credibility they may have once had. From Maxine Waters' constant ramblings and tweets of how we know Trump's Kremlin clan is true to Eric Swalwell proclaiming just last week that Trump's deep involvement with Russia is hampering his agenda, they have convinced themselves, and nobody else, that Russiagate is a real thing. But there's always been just one big problem, a lack of evidence. Now a new profanity-laced recording of a phone call by award-winning journalist Seymour Hersh, one of the left's go-to guys when it comes to investigative reporting, has surfaced, and he may have inadvertently provided the final nail for the lid of Russiagate's coffin. As published on Mint Press News, the Russiagate narrative that the Russians hacked into private emails to influence the 2016 U.S. presidential election has effectively recast international relations. But it has been coming apart, and a just-released recording of a Seymour Hersh phone call may be a fatal blow. Since the Russiagate scandal and anti-Russia hysteria first began, substantial evidence has emerged to debunk many of the claims made by their proponents. For instance, the Russian hacker narrative has lost all credibility, as analyses have shown that the Democratic National Committee's hacked emails were not targeted by a foreign actor, but an insider with access to their network, suggesting that it was a leaker, not a hacker, who was ultimately responsible. In addition, several prominent mainstream news organizations including the Associated Press and New York Times have been forced to retract false statements made with the intention of selling the Russian hacker narrative. Others have been forced to retract entire stories that were later found to be fabricated. Now, award-winning journalist Seymour Hersh has, perhaps inadvertently, put another nail in the coffin of the collapsing account of how Russia supposedly interfered in last year's U.S. presidential election. In a profanity-laced phone call, which was leaked and uploaded to YouTube on August 1, Hersh details insider information he obtained from his contacts at the FBI and the Washington, D.C. Police Department. This information, in contrast to what the government has publicly stated, indicates that the DNC's hacked emails were given to WikiLeaks by a DNC employee, none other than the now deceased Seth Rich, and that the entire Russian interference narrative was intentionally fabricated by U.S. intelligence. Listen to the entire audio of Seymour Hersh's phone call here. The combination of this Hersh recording, Rich's death, and the fact Comey has now inked a $10 million book deal certainly tend to point in the same direction. The direction of B.S.Veal. Liberals, you'd better start looking for another story or way to take Trump out and thwart the will of the people. Because after this, all the king's horses and all the king's men won't be able to give this Russia story legs again. It's dead, gone and over. Rather than continually trying to breathe new life into a non-existent scandal, how about getting about the business of the American people and actually work toward accomplishing something other than #resist? We're all waiting.